Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we haven't had any rain in quite a while here in Idaho, and today we're gonna work on having a little bit of a defense against any sort of fires that are gonna try to come through this summer. And of course, now that I say there's no rain, it's raining, which is perfect. We'll take it. It's actually kind of windy, it's stormy, so we'll take it. But as a lot of you guys know, our well that we are hooked up to right now doesn't produce a lot of water. We do have a second well, but we just need to, it's kind of far away, and we don't have a water line dug to it, and we don't have power to it, and the water itself is really dirty, so we need to get that going. It's just one of those things. But the well we're hooked up to does not have a lot of water. It's like 15 gallons per hour right now, which isn't great. But we do have this extra septic tank that we ended up finding at the bottom, and we're gonna fill it up with water. And that's gonna be 1,000 gallons of water that's just stored there in the ground, ready to go. If we need anything, we can pump out of it, and it's gonna be a nice little reserve just to have something, for either watering the plants or in case of emergencies. You can see the tank down through the bushes there. The problem I'm having is the hose is just a little too short, and it doesn't quite reach, so I need to find a way to fill this thing up. So let's see. All right, guys, check this out. This works out perfect. So I've drained this tank a few times already. This is just muddy water. You can see where the mud just has been falling into this thing. I've had it open, which I know is not smart, but I've had it open. I need to put the lid back on. I actually broke the lid and I lost this little lid. But anyway, we got the water going in here. The hose was just a little bit too short, so we had a piece of fence drain that just made it reach perfectly. Got the rocks stopping it. So yeah. So what I'm gonna try to do is run this thing for about 30 minutes every day until this tank is full. And I'm hoping we don't run out of water. We may have to turn that time down just a little bit, but we're gonna start out with 30 minutes every day. Let's try to fill this tank up over, a couple weeks, I guess. All right, everybody, day 2 of trying to fill up the tank full of water, and we ran out of water yesterday on the first well, so we ended up hooking up the generator to the second well and kind of making sure it still worked, after the winter and all. And we had enough garden hose to make it reach, so we're going to end up using the second well to flush this. And that does two things for us. One, it flushes the second well because we need to work that. As a lot of you guys know, it's really dirty. And two, it fills up the tank, so yeah, we are going to pump a little bit of sediment into this tank, but the tank needs to be cleaned out eventually anyway, so kind of is what it is, and we'll take it. I guess I should kind of do some explaining with this. This is the first well right next to our now water storage tank, and that is our second well over there. You can see it sticking out of the ground, and that water is a lot, and that well produces, but the water is dirty. And this guy here doesn't produce, but the water is clean. You can see I got a nice mess of 220 wires that have been all wrapped up and laying here all winter. So this is what we're tied to on the house right now. That is what we need to hook up. So this second well is not hooked up to any power, or we don't have the water line tied to the main water line yet. So we still are running it off the generator, and I'll show you, we just have this hose plumbed right out of the ground. We got the pitless buried, but you see this water line come right out, and it's just tied right to a garden hose. We just got going up. Let's run up, hopefully it's filling. Oh yeah, I can hear it. Nice. I went to cover this guy up and move the lid yesterday, and it's all cracked up now. And I think I actually have another lid up at the top from when they installed our other septic system. So we're gonna get this guy covered up today. All right, so we'll let that run for a little bit. The cool thing about that, guys, is it's on a pump protection system, so we can just let that generator run, and as that well runs out of water, if it does run out of water, it's gonna shut itself off and cycle. Actually, I think let's hang out here and make sure it does shut off, because I don't want this pump running constantly. I have it set so if it does shut off, it's gonna stay off for about 5 minutes, so that's plenty of time for the pump to cool down and kind of reset. So let's just stay here and wait for this thing to shut off, make sure it's gonna cycle. Water is pretty clean too, which is awesome. That's what we're hoping for. I didn't look earlier, but that water appears to be pretty clean. All right, cool. So that ended up shutting off. There's no more water running through this. So we're just gonna let that run for a little bit, let that well cycle, maybe give it, you know, an hour and see how full we can get this tank. So last night it got really cold here. When I woke up this morning, it was about 29 degrees out. And luckily Liz and I had heard that it was supposed to freeze. We were watching the weather and we covered up all our plants. Hopefully they all made it. Let's check them. Oh, we might have missed this raspberry plant. Didn't quite get covered enough. The roots got covered, but see if that guy makes it. Everything else got covered. I think there's a blueberry plant somewhere in here. Let's get this guy out. Doesn't look too bad. Hopefully it didn't take it too hard. What else do we got? Everything else here is pretty good. Another raspberry plant. Man, they didn't quite get covered enough. Dang. Sunflowers, maybe tomatoes, I'm not sure. But we're gonna leave all these wood chippings here because that's gonna hold a little bit of moisture in on this dirt, and it should help it out because these ones outside kind of seem to be struggling. The ones that we got inside underneath the light are doing much better than these ones outside here. All right, this was the one from the septic tank we had installed, and that barely fit. For a second, thought I was gonna drop it through, but luckily it fit. I never even thought it would be too small. So that was cool. It didn't fall through. That would have been really bad. So we got that on. Still got the Jenny running. June's over here monitoring. And we are getting pretty full. Tough to see down there. I should have got a shot before I covered that. But it's probably 3/4 of the way full right now. So we're getting there. Day 3 of filling up our now water tank.
Water reservoir tank.
Yeah. And we have this pump. So this pump actually came with our pressure tank. I bought our pressure tank used. Guy wanted $30 for it. I offered him 10 because I didn't need the pump, and he said no. So
you have to take it.
You have to take it, and I want $30. So I gave him $30 for the pressure tank and this pump. This pump sat outside. I started researching it once I realized I needed a pump. Turns out this is a good pump. This is a jacuzzi pump, which come to find out is a really good pump. We're gonna run it off of 220 3/4 horse motor, and yeah, hopefully it works. We're gonna find out here.
Yeah.
What are you taping up there?
I'm making this fitting a little bit thicker so that the 1.5 inch can fit on there.
Well, that's dumb though. Isn't it just gonna blow out?
Well, babe, it's a suction. It's suctioning, so we don't have to worry about it blowing out because there's no pressure on it.
Oh.
So I think for temporary, this should be just fine.
Yeah, it'll work for temporary then. Yeah. Good idea.
Thanks.
You think I could get you help, please?
I'm going.
I know. Keep going. come on. Fuck, seriously?
It needs to be on the board somehow.
Oh. Oh, it broke?
No.
Are you kidding me? Oh, no.
They're just like withered away.
We are attaching our OSHA approved plugs.
So like sketch level, what is it? 1 to 10.
I'd give it like well, it depends on your sketchbook.
Like, or will we get shocked, basically?
Probably not.
Like 1 to 10.
Of getting shocked?
Yeah, like 10, there's a really good chance.
1.5.
Okay, so it's like nothing.
Just don't touch it. It's easy. All right, go. Okay, shut it off. Okay, go. Seriously? Okay, shut it off. Damn, that had to be so close. Okay, go. Okay, stop. Huh.
Where would the check valve go?
Because like right now, that's why the bucket's overflowing, because all the water that's trying to stay in the pipe.
Yeah.
Day 4 here. Me and Jed. We got Liz and June over here. We're trying to fill up this tank still. We're about 90% full. Try to get you guys a little update. We ended up having this old water pipe. This is 12-inch water main, a chunk of it. So I cut that off and it fit perfectly in this hole down here, lined right up. So that must be a 12-inch portal. I don't know, maybe that's a 2-foot portal. But yeah, that'll be nice for when we bury it. So you can see it's like, just beneath that baffle hole. Everything seems to be going pretty good so far. The pump was a little bit of a hiccup though, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit. Kind of a bummer. We couldn't get the pump all the way working yesterday. We have a couple parts. We have to get the correct size pipe, and then we need a foot valve in town. So we didn't have everything that we needed,
yeah,
unfortunately.
The water was kind of like just washing right out of that pipe. We couldn't really fill it up without having that valve in there. So yeah, and then like with how everything is, we can't just like run to town real quick, especially since everything's getting expensive with fuel included.
Right.
You know, so we kind of try to let a list stack up a little bit before we just run down to town. And it's not like it's a quick trip for us. Round trip, like that's easy going to be an hour and a half.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's one of those things of living out here, but we enjoy it.
Just the more pressing things we'll go get, but if it's not totally necessary,
add it to the list. Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching, you guys. Almost get a pump working.
Yeah, seriously. We were pretty close, but yeah, a couple more parts, it'll get there.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, guys. See ya.